Hello and welcome to Animal Watch, and this week we're talking Saarloos Wolfdogs.
Several years ago, the ban controlling the ownership of certain wolf dogs was lifted in the UK, as long as it was an F3 or less, which is 3 generations removed from the original wolf. This gave rise to a new interest in 2 well-known and established wolf dog breeds from the continent, the Czechoslovakian Wolfdog and the Saarloos. But what is the difference between the 2 breeds? Especially if you are planning on bringing one into your home. So today I am visiting Saarloos expert Julie Bradshaw of My Ex Dogs, who has a wealth of experience when it comes to the Saarloos breed. If anyone can tell me what the main differences are, then it's her.
Oh, they're gorgeous! What colour's this called?
This is forest brown.
Forest brown, absolutely beautiful.
One of 3 colours that the breeds in the standard. So we've got the wolf grey, the classic wolf grey. This is the forest brown, and they also have white within the standard. Yeah.
How long have you had Saarloos Wolfdogs for?
I've only been in the breed for 4 years. Came into it from other types of wolf dogs and wolf lookalikes. Was looking for something that was healthy, but particularly had a companion pet temperament because we have children at home.
Yeah, so can you tell us a little bit about the background of the Saarloos breed?
Okay, so it was developed back in the early 1930s by a gentleman called Leonard Saarloos, and he loved the German Shepherd, was a big fan of the original breeding, but he felt that it wasn't natural enough, that it had already become perhaps a little bit too humanized, and therefore he wanted to bring all the natural physical qualities and some of the natural behavioral qualities back into Saarloos, and so he then crossed his German Shepherd with a female wolf that he obtained from Rotterdam Zoo, and he created what was then known as, I'm sorry, oops, he's rubbing on everyone, what is then known as the European Wolfdog. And he continued with that breeding right up until the 1960s by introducing more wolves and the offspring of the original pair. And the last crossing was done in the early 1960s, and his purpose really was to breed I know, they're supposed to be shy. His purpose really was to breed a dog with working ability, particularly for the police, and with an emphasis on guide dogs. So he wanted dogs that were very loyal to their what he would term as master at that time.
Sometimes they're known to have a little bit of a nervous disposition. Why is this? Is it the breeding program wasn't completed?
Well, I think that he obviously, I think he would have continued with his work for many years to come, obviously, but he died in the late 1960s, and I think he felt that it was reasonably complete, but obviously to create the breed itself, he was very keen to keep the natural qualities, and in part of those natural qualities was this natural shyness, but it was a sweet shyness. It's not an overly fearful or reactive shyness. It was really just about creating a more companionable temperament. I think they're known today for being more shy because we're used to dogs that are very bold.
Well, one of the questions I get asked the most is what are the fundamental differences between the Saarloos Wolfdogs and the Czechoslovakian Wolfdogs? So how would you say what would you say are the main differences between the 2 breeds?
Well, they were obviously both created using German Shepherds and Wolves, but the fundamental difference was that the Czechoslovakian Wolfdog was bred to be a working type guard and patrol dog and a scent work dog, whereas the purpose behind the Saarloos was to be a loyal companion and a guide to his master. So the purpose behind the 2 breeds is very, very different, and today the Saarloos is very much just bred as a companion animal, whereas the Czechoslovakian Wolfdog is still bred as a working dog.
Okay, so if somebody was going to go and have a Saarloos and they were trying to make up their mind between having a Saarloos and a Czechoslovakian Wolfdog. What advice would you give to them about what sort of activities they need to do with these dogs, or what to expect from the different breeds?
Okay, I think if I was to make the decision, it would depend on whether or not, how active I was, whether or not I was into any dog sports. If I was into dog sports, I would suggest the Czechoslovakian Wolfdog. If I was after a dog that would perhaps be more happy to take the day off and have the day on the sofa, or a dog that just wanted to do some heel work, some one-on-one work with their master, then obviously that would be much more the Saarloos's domain.
I have met quite a lot of nervous Saarloos if they haven't had a lot of socialisation from an early age. The parents obviously are at home with you, but when I came into the house, the parents weren't so keen to come near me, and that's like a typical trait of the Saarloos. They will hang back with strangers, and it takes a while for them to warm to them. But of course the puppies here are absolutely amazing. What have you done? How have you worked with them to actually get them to this stage where they're comfortable to sit with people?
Okay, well, we started our work very, very early. We actually started on day 3 of their lives. Before their eyes and ears were open, we expose our puppies to a tiny amount of stress in the very early days. It's a system developed and been used fairly widely across Europe now and into the US, called early neurological stimulation. And there's a lot of science that says that if we are able to deal with stress on a small level of when we're very young, we're better able to deal with stress as we progress through life and get older. With a very young puppy, so we would hold the puppy very gently on its back for just a few seconds, literally up no more than 5 seconds. We might place a puppy on a cool surface, again, just a few seconds, no more than 5 seconds. And it really is, it's a tiny amount of stress, but it's already teaching the body, not just emotionally, but in a physiological point of view, how to deal with a bit of stress. And as time goes on, we increase that stress a little bit, but they're able to handle it and deal with it much better because we've started it so early. Obviously, it includes meeting a lot of people, being exposed to a lot of novel stimuli in those early 12 weeks, and it's why we particularly like to keep all our puppies until they're 12 weeks old and that socialisation window is starting to close.
And they've got the most beautiful sea green eyes, haven't they?
Yeah.
The eyes are like
the eye colour is
beautiful green.
Very unique actually to this particular colouring. You do get yellow eyes also in the wolf grey, but it doesn't have quite that same lumosity that it does in the other side.
Yeah, so if somebody is thinking of getting a Saarloos Wolfdog, what sort of person do you need to be?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say the Saarloos is a breed that wants to be a companion animal, so that means he wants to be with you. You also want to be with other dogs too, so obviously someone that is more at home than away, and someone with another dog, any other dog breed, they're very good with other dogs, or ideally one of their own kind. As with all dogs, they play and get on together very well.
I've met the odd Saarloos in the past that have been quite nervy. They've been maybe rescues around somebody's house. And I think what's important to talk about is if you have one of these dogs, it really is a dog for life. Because they're so fragile.
Very loyal.
They're very loyal. They've got high emotions, and I have unfortunately seen a lot of rescues, and when they've gone into rescues they do seem to sometimes become damaged. And so I think anyone that's thinking of having a dog like this, it really is a dog for life.
So they're very deeply bonded to their owners, very deeply bonded to their family, and like all wolf dogs, very sensitive. So if you can't be with them, and whatever happens and you have to give that dog up, it's very difficult for them to adjust to new people. They miss forever. They will miss that person.
So they don't suit people that work all day. They really need to be with, say, somebody that works from home, or somebody that perhaps can take the dog around with them. Have they got a high level of energy like a Czechoslovakian Wolfdog? You'd say they're much calmer then.
Yeah, no, they don't have quite that same drive. They will happily have a sofa day if you want to have a sofa day. They obviously do need a reasonable amount of exercise like all dogs, and a good amount of mental stimulation, so some training and some one-to-one work.
Will they guard your property if you're out? They won't
No,
care.
no, unfortunately not at all.
Well, if you enjoyed my film on Saarloos Wolfdogs, then please remember to give this video a big thumbs up, and remember to subscribe to the channel, and check out Julie's website, which is MyAxeDogs, which is, what's the website?
www.myaxe.co.uk.
And if you want any more information on the Saarloos breed, then obviously drop Julie a line. You've got Instagram page, you've got Facebook page, and I'm sure she'll be happy to give
we
people
have the
some
breed
advice.
club in the UK as well, so there's lots of help and advice about these dogs.
Okay, so join me next week then. Bye for now.